Felicitations, everybody. It is me, Felicia Day, and this is my podcast. This is my podcast voice. You like it? I'm trying to speak a little bit more from my diaphragm because I've taken a lot of classes over the years. I've learned how to breathe as a singer and an actor. Never seemed to actually pay attention to those instructions. So, hey, what's up? We have a lot of really wonderful people. As you know, or maybe you don't know, Felicitations tapes live in front of a Discord audience. So I don't really involve the chat very much, but they do listen live. And sometimes I pick up a comment or two. So if you'd like to become a member of the Discord, Listen Lose, can I call you guys that? Listen Lose? You can go to rally.io/creators/geeks, Geex, and just become a member. It's really cheap and it's really fun. We're going to be picking up the club, the Geeks Club. I'm going to be rebranding it the Geeks Club. We have a mascot coming out. We got some content. It's not going to be like, a huge company, but it's going to be hopefully we'll grow the audience a little bit more and we'll grow the community, which is really the whole point of this social token, as they call it. So I will remind you that it doesn't have an environmental impact except for porting in and out of the Ethereum, which you probably wouldn't want to do. This is not like a financial thing. It's just like, do you want to sign up? Do it. You get some geeks. You get free content every week. Well, not free. Well, I mean, you got it. Don't pin it on me. Anyway, hi. I am really overwhelmed this week, and I have so much to talk about. So first of all, if you want to ever review the books or the things that I mentioned on the podcast, there is a wikia, felicitations.fandom.com. My wonderful mod, Sean Sandy Looky Look, generally updates it with really wonderful guides. I have to look there often to see if I talked about something the week before. Although now that I'm doing this monthly, there's more to talk about, but also more to catch up with. I would love to maybe get this on a more regular schedule. I actually do want some feedback from you guys because I was talking with somebody in the podcast world today, and I was kind of talking about how we have 3 feeds for all of my podcasts, and I can't seem to build one of them more efficiently. And they were like, why don't you put all of them in one podcast feed? I was like, what? Yeah, just do all your shows, but just release them on one feed. So, because most people probably are fans of you. So if you do one feed, then people don't have to subscribe to 10 million feeds. You don't have to host on 10 million feeds. And if you have more, you'd have content every week, you would gather more audience. I was like, well, that's interesting. So I'd love your feedback either on the Discord, discord.gg or /Felicia Day, or just on Twitter. Tell me if that would be weird for you. So you basically would subscribe to a Felicia Day feed and you would get the once or twice a month felicitations. And you get also all of the undressing podcasts with me and Tom. Because the problem is now we're going to switch to Bridgerton, which hasn't been updated in a while, and we're not going to have as many viewers. And then we'll switch back after Bridgerton after 8 weeks. So it's a little bit not very efficient. So I don't know. Just give me your feedback. Are you a marketing genius? Har har. Things have been picking up because of Omicron and all that stuff. I don't think that January actually counted as a month. But this month, I did a bunch of really awesome things. I just want to share them very quickly because I think most of the community listening knows about them because if you watch my Twitch streams, I brag a lot. Also, the poor geeks have listened to this podcast because we had some recording issues. But anyway, I did some acting this month. I did or am doing some voiceover for an amazing video game. I started working on my graphic novel. And I shot an amazing branded thing that is so exciting. I can't talk about it. It'll be out, I guess, later this summer. I recorded several podcasts for other people. Maya Bialik, I'm going to be on her podcast again. I'm going to be on an improvised podcast that a lot of you know that I've been on before. I can't actually say that I've been on it, but I'm going to be on it again. But it's very exciting. I was very blue on it. I apologize for that. And Tom Lenk and I sped up the recording of Undressing the Witcher because we looked at the schedule and we were like, oh, whoa, we are going to run out of time and we're going to have to be doing The Witcher at the same time as Bridgerton because Bridgerton comes back March 23rd. There is an event in LA around the time that Bridgerton premieres. It's a ball and I want to go so badly. So I got to talk to Tom about that. Anyway, so we're recording more Witcher. We've been releasing almost every week. And so if you are ready to binge, I think we've got 2 more episodes now. So we got episode 6 of season 2, and we have 7 and 8. And I'm so excited. It's just exciting. So yeah, I'm really pumped. I also said no to something that hopefully everybody is proud of me, including Rocket Soup, one of my mods, who's always saying, "Why are you doing all of these things?" Because you are, of course, I noticed it. I figured it out, y'all. So I will get to the point where I have time to breathe. I have time to do the things that I do well, but not feel rushed, and actually have time to myself to enjoy life. At that point, when I'm feeling high on life, I'm like, let's sign up for 5 million other things. Let's get this going. Let's get this project going. Let's do something different. Let's redo the YouTube chat. Like, it is pathological. And I know that I don't know if that's ADD or if it is just my imagination that just all has to dwell in some. I mean, I'm the kind of person who drives down a street and looks at every house, imagining what I would be inside it, what it would be like to live there. What would it be like to live in the 1800s? What would it be like to live on, Sunset Boulevard? Like, there is no scenario where I'm not like imagining me in a different scenario than I am in present. And it has been very stressful on me because I haven't actually had the awareness that this is a pattern of behavior that I do that just sabotages any forward progress that I can make in other areas. I'm chasing waterfalls. Yeah, TLC. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Yes, I don't know what I'm doing. So I said no to a role on an animated show that I've been working on for a long time. I'm still involved, but I don't want it the day on my shoulders. And I was like, and I'm trying to do that every single step of the way because, as I said, the world is opening up, and a lot of people now have agendas for themselves, and they want to open the door and go into your house and say, "Hey, I want you to help me on my project." Old Felicia, well, I am old Felicia, but before Felicia would have been like, "Great, I'm available for everything." I can't do it anymore. I canceled like 3 coffees this week. I canceled a lot of things, and I'm just like, this is why I'm stressed all the time. Now, I will say that I've been to a lot of doctors this month. I caught up on all my doctor's offices. So I went to my GP, and he was like, "You have to go get an endoscopy and a colonoscopy to check out a couple things. You need to go to so I went to the gastroenterologist, and so I have that happening next week. They're going in the upstairs and in the downstairs, and I guess they're gonna meet in the center and just see if there's anything wrong. Help. I went to the gynecologist who, sent me to 3 other places and gave me a bunch of vitamins to take. I went to the dentist, and now I'm gonna have to get Invisalign. It's not because of my brother, just for the record. It's not because my brother swears by Invisalign. It's because all my teeth are moving to the front of my mouth, and they're shoving. It's shoving, and it's just not happening. So and then my doctor was like, "You should go to the orthodontist and see because your jaw is literally in the wrong place." But then I looked into the surgery, which I had looked into before too, and I was reminded that not only can I not move the teeth in the proper way with clear Invisalign, I'd have to have metal braces, but it's a year process. Then they break your jaw, maybe your upper jaw too, and move it back, and then move your bottom forward. You're basically they don't quote unquote wire your jaw shut anymore, but sometimes they do, and it's 12 weeks to recover. That's 3 months, y'all. And then there's another year of braces after that to fix everything. I was like, you know what? As long as I can shove food in my mouth, I'll just stick with the jaw I have. So I'm gonna get the Invisalign. But I basically went on this awesome, you know, doctor sprint just to get it all done. I got my eyes checked. And I decided to go off my Lexapro 2 months ago too. As anybody who's listened to this podcast knows, I have had a lot of problems with my anxiety over the years. It exacerbated very badly after I had my baby, hormonal issues, all of the stuff. Cut to a couple years ago when I literally couldn't sleep for months and I really had some brain damage. I started Lexapro because my GP gave it to me, and it was life-changing. It saved my life. I decided to go off the Lexapro, and here's why. So I On Lexapro, I have the most vivid dreams in that it's like I'm watching a TV show when I'm dreaming. So I could wake up in the morning and tell you exactly what happened. And but more than that, I was aware the whole time, so I'd be watching the dream like a TV show and commenting on it. Almost like an MST3K episode, but not in a witty way. I'm just like, "Oh, that's interesting that that person would be in this. Ooh, wow, I wonder why I keep dreaming about these things from my childhood. That's really interesting." Like, and I would wake up in the morning, and this is for like the last year, and I would be like, "I'm tired." So, and it was riffing on my own dreams. Yeah, and so it might have been I was on too low a dose, but the higher doses made me so sleepy, I couldn't really function. So I had gotten down to like a 5 milligram dose, which might have been too low. Anyway, the other side effect is that I grind my jaw, which has led to the fact that I need to now get Invisalign. And I gained a little weight I couldn't, lose. Also, my acting, I just wasn't in touch with my feelings anymore. So when I acted this last month, having been off of it for about 3 weeks, it was like night and day. I was, like, in the moment. I was enjoying, like, the experience of interacting with someone in a way that I was not able to as much do on the Lexapro. So that's why I decided to go off of it. Now, I I feel totally different. My sleep, well, here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing that happened. So when I was on Lexapro, I didn't have acid reflux, which has been a huge plague for me. And so I kind of or I can't decide whether I didn't have acid reflux at all, or basically I didn't worry about it as much. I think it's a combination of the both. Like if I didn't eat anything that was super triggering, like fried food or you know chili or something like that, I had way less acid reflux because I hold my tension like right where my right at the top of my stomach, right? And I think that that's what's going on. So over the last couple of weeks, what's flared up again? It is, yeah, I've had acid reflux a lot. And so that sent me into, and that and going to the doctor sent me into this kind of hypochondriac thing where I started messing with my diet a lot. I was eating chicken and rice. Well, I was eating lentils and rice, and I blew up like a balloon. I have to tell you, it was like I had a NASCAR fart race in my stomach, and there was so much gas in there. I was like, help! I could not sleep. It was horrible. So, so now I'm in a, so now I'm in a position where I know that the anxiety drugs helped my acid reflux. And if I can't get my acid reflux under control, I'm having inflammation in my throat, which can make me vulnerable to not only, messing my throat up, my voice up, but also, you're vulnerable to wherever you have inflammation is a vulnerability to cancer later on. And I know that because that's why I've had 5 endoscopies. So basically, I'm like, okay, I can, and honestly, I was a lot more content with the Lexapro because I was just like, yeah, man, it's cool. So now I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, do I go back on it? So I got a new psychiatrist who I will talk to about the side effects that I want to avoid, and maybe we'll find a different solution. But also, I've been sleeping not as good. I literally went to sleep the other night and I had anxiety about one of my best friends, Ryko, something that happened in his life. So it's clearly my brain just looking for something to be anxious about. Because I'm like, why am I feeling anxiety over something that happened to someone else? So that is kind of where I'm at. I also got some pot gummies, but I haven't tried them because I feel like I'm doing something criminal, even though it's totally legal here in California. I bought them and I went into the pot store, y'all, and you know me, I've never done drugs. I haven't even been long enough around to get a contact high. I'm such a Puritan. I barely drink. I've never smoked anything. And I don't condemn anybody. Like, who cares? Like, you do what you need to do as long as it's not adversely affecting your life or those around you and it hopefully is not illegal. Um, Whatever. So I went in and I felt so awkward. I felt like a 14-year-old going in to try to get like a beer at the 7-Eleven. And so um I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about it. So I did get the ones that several friends of mine use, which are just like sleepy gummies, but I just have had them for a week and I feel like I locked them in my room. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I did take melatonin last night and it really worked, so I might just do that. I just feel so anyway, I'm working through it, and I just wanna give a shout out to anybody who is on drugs, like medication for not on drugs, everybody's on drugs right now. Anybody who's on medication for, mental health issues, it's such a process to get off of one and go on the other and figure out what works for you. You kinda have to suffer a lot to figure out what's gonna work for your body and your mind, and the medicines start to wear off, which might have happened with my Lexapro, or, like, the side effects are like, is it worth it? So, I just want to, send some sympathy out there. Having being in the middle of it now, I've done this before, I just kinda forgot, it was a couple years ago. So, yeah, it's a struggle, but the only thing you can do is just remain proactive in discovering what works for you. I mean, that's life, not only medication, but just life. And no, I'm not uh, I'm not gonna be addicted to pot gummies, I promise. I'm probably never gonna use them. I feel so guilty. I don't know why. I'm an idiot. I'm just kind of a control freak. I'm just scared. And I'm not doing it on stream, okay? Don't even ask it. All right. I do wanna give a shout out to, my daughter, who had a birthday. She's 5 years old, and she lost 2 of her teeth promptly. She turned 5, and she's just started falling apart. So there you go. I, and she started piano lessons, which I forgot to make her practice today, but it's fine. Also, if you are a fan of MST3K, this week is the week. If you were a supporter, you wanna get in on the Gizmoplex release, we have there's an amazing team over there who are trying to create original content for people, and it is so homegrown and organic and wonderful. They've really done a really clever job of making a website a portal into the MST3K universe, and you can access depending I don't know exactly how the financials or the subscription work or whatever. I just know that starting on Friday, you're gonna get new MST3K, and that is too cool. So, shout out to that, and, yeah, there's a couple. I wrote on 2 episodes. I wrote on an episode called I don't think I should tell you, actually. So, they're wonderful. Okay, I'm being much better about updating my community number, so if you want to be texted before we do any of these live hangouts, if you wanna be texted before, the Twitch streams, if you wanna be texted before or as podcasts release, go ahead and, just text 310-510-6191 in the US, I believe. I don't even think Canada can do it, I'm sorry. I don't want anybody to incur any charges. But if you US residents subscribe, at 310-510-6191, you can actually pick what you wanna hear about. So if you only wanna hear Twitch updates, if you only wanna hear, um, podcast sadly, I didn't instruct people very well if they wanted all. If you just put I don't know, just sign up for everything you want. It's a work in progress, as is everything. Shout outs are back. A bunch of people wanted a shout out for the Felicitation podcast. Springtime eating comfort food and your podcast. Things that always make me smile and happy. I look forward to Tuesdays, especially Felicitations or Wednesdays sometime. It's always fresh, fun, informative, and thoughtful and inspiring, but most of all, you're having fun doing it. Less than 3 cleavesmill. Thank you. Hi, Felicia. I'm a psychiatrist who specializes in maternal mental health and working with video gamers. And I've been enjoying your podcast since it first started. This shout out is to you to thank you for always being so open about sharing your mental health struggles and encouraging others to seek help if they are struggling. I really appreciate it when people with a platform like you talk about it openly and normalize it. Wolfgang 139. Thank you, Wolfgang. Wow, you specialize in maternal mental health and working with video gamers. Where are you? You're wonderful. And I love that message, and it ties into what I was saying before. Whatever it is you're having, a physical health problems, mental health problems, make it your goal to figure it out. This is a puzzle. You're a puzzle box, and you're going to figure out how to help yourself. And you might do things that don't help yourself that you thought might work. Last week, I started taking fish oil on the when my gynecologist told me it gave me horrible acid reflux, directly tied to it because my stomach is weird. So I stopped taking it, got better. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't tried, right? A thank you to all that you do, Felicia. Felicitations is my favorite. It has helped me kept going during COVID. Westin. Thank you, Westin. Those people got a shout out at the Geeks page. If you want one, go there and get one. It's you just scroll down and get a campaign. All right. Book. Y'all, I have not read a lot of books. We read Kindred for the last book, the Geeks Book Club, which was profoundly effective. I urge you to read it. A lot of libraries have the graphic novel version. If you can just read the graphic novel version, which I actually read before I started reading the book because I couldn't get the book in time. I mean, I got the book, but later before the hangout. Please read it. It is truly incredible, and how insightful Octavia Butler is just blows my mind. The next geek book club for March is All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders. You probably know that I'm friends with Charlie Jane because she used to run IO9, and now she's an incredible author and activist. She has a great newsletter. So the other books that I read this month have been few and far between because I don't know why. I've been watching a lot of TV instead of reading at night, and that is probably why I'm not sleeping as well. But I read a book called The Heroine with 1,001 Faces by Maria Tatar. And it reads kind of like a college textbook a little bit, but it's really interesting about The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell and patterns of the hero's journey and how they don't really apply to women and how there's a lot of misogynistic overtones, but how other authors have kind of taken that and turned it on their head and maybe looked at the classics in a different way. It was really fun. And it puts me to sleep, which I like. I have a fiction book that I'm starting to read, which is called Iron Widow by Xiran Zhao. And I got this because it was on the best of 2020 lists, a lot of places. So that was really cool. And yeah, so those are the books I'm reading for the month of March. I have a convention that I'm going to this weekend. It's Vegas, baby. And I will be there. It's a supernatural convention. And I've not done a convention in quite a while. And it'll be strange to get back there. But I think I should not say this out loud. I'm hoping that, COVID is easing a little bit. I know a lot of people, I do not want to encourage people to, yeah, get out there because I know a lot of people, especially immunocompromised people, you can't ease up. And seeing the world kind of jumpstart again is really frustrating to you. Parents of children under 5, my heart goes out to you. I was there. Calliope just last week was fully vaccinated, and I cannot tell you the relief that I had. I felt like a weight was lifting off my chest, that I could actually go places with my child, send her to school, take her to the playground, and not be really scared of my kid getting sick. So I do want to send some hugs out to you guys, but also I'm kind of excited to have a drink in Vegas. So we can do both things at the same time, right? Does that make me a jerk? Yeah, it does. All right, TV time. Rex. If I ever get a producer for this podcast, I'll have sound effects. I'll go into I have a vision, y'all, but we're still in beta. It's only been 4 years, okay? I can't give you all the bells and whistles now. Oh boy. So y'all need to watch West Side Story. That's all I have to say. And I would watch it a couple times if I were you. This is why. I've noticed when I watch something more than once, I'm watching for the actors and just the story the first time. The second time I watch, I'm able to pay attention to the costume design and the direction, the way the camera moves. And West Side Story is literally the best movie in years to show you what cinema is. Yeah, like we're now in a pattern where we watch a lot of TV. You can't do fancy camera shots as much. If you want to have the camera dance, there's some shots in West Side Story. First of all, the girl in West Side Story is unbelievable. Her performance is unbelievable. Tony, not so great, but as a whole, Anita and Maria are like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. And there's a lot of problematic things in the original that I admire that they put effort forth into making a little bit more, just a little less, prejudiced against the Hispanic and the Puerto Ricans and, all the culture. It was more culturally balanced and the performances are incredible. There are a lot of things to criticize in it, of course. But at the end of the day, he made a masterpiece in cinematography. If it doesn't win the Oscar, I will be like, y'all are going, it's terrible. The way the camera, every scene dances with the actors, especially during the musical scenes. There's one scene where they're going into the dance that's like a couple minutes long. I don't know how you do it. Just imagine someone is cueing everybody and there's music playing and people are dancing. So the person who's cueing people as the camera's floating around somebody has to tell people, "Go, go, go." If you can see any behind the scenes shots of, how people do long oneers like that, a oneer is like one shot. I would just urge you to see it because 'cause you're gonna look at how movies are made in a different way. West Side Story, unbelievable. On the other hand, Reacher is pure trash, but 100% worth watching. I tweeted, and it was a super popular tweet, which I don't really care about that anymore, thank God. But I was like, oh, wow, people like Reacher. But then I was like, no, I actually said Reacher is guilty pleasure fun. I think that Supernatural trained me to like the big boys because Reacher is all about, Reacher, who's 6'4" or 6'5", undressing Reacher. I don't know. I mean, believe me, he was very undressed in this TV show, and I will say, I didn't mind it, okay? So, it's really good. I mean, it's just good TV. It reminded me okay, when I was a kid, I was in love with MacGyver, and even earlier, I remember being in love with Knight Rider, David Hasselhoff, and it kind of harkens back to that sort of meaty, pretty boy going around solving problems. Yeah, just some eye candy, blowing stuff up, murdering people, stuffing them in trunks. Like, there's a little bit of a guilty pleasure there, but I'm into it. Also, I've been watching The Gilded Age, which is the opposite of Reacher. It's like the lady guilty pleasure versus the more masculine guilty. So it's extremes in kind of cliched feminine/masculine entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Gilded Age is all about the costumes. It's ladies doing pretty much nothing. There's no plot, nothing. There's no tension in Gilded Age, but it's still like I can't. It's like candy to me. I love it. And Reacher's the opposite. It's like let's have some hunky dudes doing some violence. It's just so. I should be pushing back against it because they're both playing into the cliches so hard. But you know what? Sometimes you need some popcorn. So yeah, that would be a great crossover. Reacher goes back in time and basically is hired by Christine Baranski, who's just fabulous and everything, to sabotage the Russells who have been murdering the help in the downstairs, and they're getting away with it because they're so rich. See? It writes itself. That's more action that's happened that's happened in Gilded Age in all the 6 episodes I've seen. So, yes. Also, last TV I've been watching a lot of TV, y'all, okay? Cuphead. Oh my gosh. Now, I haven't really played I tried to play the game. I died too much. I never even streamed it. Cuphead is so funny. I was laughing out loud. My daughter was, like, looking at me like, "Huh?" It is if you ever watched a Looney Tunes cartoon when you were a kid, the perfection with which the creators and executors of this show, Cuphead, put the vernacular of old-timey cartoons, the physicality of it, the gags, the rhythm of it, it's just so funny. I watched it and I just was like, "Felicia, you've had the goofiest grin on your face for the last hour and a half." It is so good. So I urge you to watch it. I don't think it's appropriate for kids. I didn't watch all of them with my kid. I watched one. I was like, it's a little violent. But I did watch it by myself while eating like a bunch of mac and cheese over like an hour and a half. Anyway, moving on to games. I've been playing God of War. Still in love with it. I'm finishing this game. I'm going to finish a playthrough. And then I have an email that people randomly email me things from my website. I don't normally look at any of it. I do have I hire somebody to look at it once a week to just tell me if there's anything I need to look at. Most of it's people want me to be on their podcast, and I'm like, podcast? I don't want to do it. Okay, I don't have the bandwidth. I would love to help everybody in the world. I can't. So anyway, I would say yes to all of it. So I had to have somebody look at it and tell me, hey, this is kind of cool. I got some codes for a game called Core Keeper, which is launching on Steam on the 7th. And it's so good, y'all. It's like Minecraft meets the aesthetics of Stardew and Terraria the aesthetics of Stardew meets Terraria and Minecraft combined. Basically, you dig and build crap. And it's so good. And it's up to 8 players, multiplayer. And the great thing is that you can have your own world and you can pop in it. And when I go offline in my world, you could take your same character that was in my world and go to your world or another person's world. So It's kind of, you don't have that hosting problem where if Stardew you don't wanna play, nobody can play. You can't play in that world, but you can play in your own world, and it's so good. So, I just want to shout it out. And it's on Steam, it's super affordable, and I think people are gonna really I think this game's gonna really take off just because it kinda has an MMO quality to it in that you could visit people's worlds and dig in there, and you could take your inventory and anything that you get there into your own world, which is kind of cool. It's not a shared space like an MMO that's static. It's like, "Well, I'll go play in your house, and I'll play in your house." There was that game Palia that kind of seemed like it was trying to do this on a bigger, more badass scale, like more sophisticated graphics and all that stuff. I'm excited to see. I hope they release a beta this year because it was really, really fun too. All right. Question time. Insert professionally done audio. Nope. Nope. No professional here. Banana Bread from Twitter asks, what is your favorite spot in Germany if you have ever been here? Thank you for asking, Banana Bread. I want to give out a shout out to Germany for supporting Ukraine so much. It has been quite a couple weeks. It's hard to talk about, because who am I? And who am I to dive into something that I'm not 100% educated? All I could say is that my heart goes out to everybody in the Ukraine. My heart goes out to those who are in Russia who don't most people don't support what's happening, and to people in Eastern Europe who have to be afraid that they're gonna come knocking on their door. Like, it is so quickly can everything be upended. Everything can change in an instant. We think that, the societies and the norms that we have in our country can't be changed. I mean, we have people heckling the president here. You think that anybody would have done that, like, to Ronald Reagan or, like no, like, in 30, 20 years, it's changed a lot, just, politics in our country, but, like, in a second, someone can decide to invade a country and upend the whole world order. It is big time. This is not gonna go away, so, anyway, I urge you, if you can, find a Ukrainian charity, and donate to it. Make sure to vet it and make sure it's completely, legitimate because a lot of scammers are out there who need to just burn an H. How would somebody scam somebody around this? Anyway, so just find maybe a first aid or like a children's a place that help children in Ukraine. I just urge you. It would be a good charitable donation. So, Banana Bread in Germany. I once went to Dusseldorf Con. I think it was a long time ago, probably like 2013 or 14. And I rented a car and I drove on the Autobahn. And I went 130 miles an hour. And if you've ever driven on the Autobahn, y'all, or if you've not, let me just tell you this. There's no median. If you are in the fast lane, the wall is about 6 inches away from you. It is not like in the States where we have a little bit more room. It is skinny. And so I was white knuckling it so bad. And at 130, y'all, I had Porsches come up behind me and beep. You do not drive in the fast lane. You drive in the right lane and you pass in the left. I learned that very quickly. It was off the chain. I rented this car and it was a BMW. It was a Mercedes, yeah. And it went so fast. I was terrified. So that was one of my best highlights of Germany. And then I drove up the Rhine, which I drove from southwestern Germany to Dusseldorf. So I drove from Munich and I kind of dipped down into the southwestern part and I went all the way up the Rhine and I saw more castles than I had in my life. And they were fairy tale castles. I didn't go to Neuschwanstein or whatever it is, the really famous one, that Sleeping Beauty castle, because that's in the southeast of Germany. But I went to so many castles. And it was the best time I've ever had. I was alone. I love traveling alone. I love it. And I would hike up and just look at these castles, and I'd go to the next castle. At a certain point, I got bored of castles. I was like, yeah, there's a castle. I think I even have a YouTube video on my YouTube channel where I edited this together. Anyway, it was wonderful. So I would love to go back to Germany. I speak a little German, and when I'm around German, I can like remember it really fast. So I would love to have another opportunity, maybe a con next year. I don't know. All right, more questions. MST3K Temple from Discord. Were there any takeaways from your group writing session for MST3K Season 13 that you plan to apply to your other work? MST3K Temple, collaborating is fun. I guess that was one takeaway. Another takeaway is that every single person has a different point of view on everything. And all you can do in life is to have the most strong point of view that you have and share it. Don't try to please other people with their point of view. I mean, yeah, you kind of have to sometimes in work, but if you're an artist, the strongest thing you could do is have your sensibility. If it's not for someone, that's okay. But you can't please everybody with your art. And the biggest disservice you can do to yourself is to try to water down your vision or your sense of humor. Like one person on the writing staff was so funny and did all the 80s band jokes. And I have no musical vocabulary other than like Brahms. So like for me, it was so amazing to just see the variety of points of view. Also, the one thing I will urge you to do is know when other people's stuff is better than yours and celebrate that. There were some people who I could see were resisting putting other people's jokes in, even though everybody as an aggregate agreed that one joke was better, right? It was not that big a deal. It was like once or twice people were fighting for their joke really, really hard. Um, but at the end of the day, you need to have an objective eye on your own work after you get it out there. You need to be able to put your artist hat on, make the art, and then put your critic hat on. Don't put your critic hat on when you're arting. That's really, that guy's a jerk. But afterwards, what can you learn from it? And can you be objective about your own stuff where, like, you know what? I think that is a better thing than what I thought. So that is a struggle. And I even had that. I would get mad when other people's like, hey, my riff was funnier. But then I would remember how it was received in the room and what in the context of the other riffs works better. And I was like, oh, you know what? That was a better choice. I totally agree with them. So I guess, that's the biggest lesson that I had. Teamwork. Yeah, teamwork. R Dash from Discord asks, are there any acting roles over the years that you regret taking? You know, no. There are acting roles that I regret not taking, and I'll tell you one right now. After I did Red Werewolf Hunter, the producers of that, which they do a lot of low budget Canadian movies, they asked me to do a Hallmark Christmas movie. And I was in the middle of the guild. I needed to get back to write the script. And I said no. And it was such a cheesy movie. And I regret, because I'll never get the opportunity again, right? It just won't happen. So that is the biggest regret, that I turned down that movie and I did not star in it. And I don't even remember the name of it. It was like Christmas Party or it was so generic. I'm really sad I didn't do it, just to have it done. I had the opportunity to audition for a part in Big Bang. And I was in the middle of shooting the guild and I couldn't go to the audition. Another person got it and they ended up being on the show for a while. And I never ended up being on the show, period. And that was a kind of a regret. But at the same time, you can't do everything. I was making my own stuff and I had obligations. And I really wish I had done that Christmas movie. Because then the blackmail even, like, Felicia, what are you doing there? The biggest regret is the guild. Exactly. No, I'm so proud of it. It's the best thing I ever did and probably will be the best thing I ever did. And that's okay. Quirky Megan asks from Twitter, what is your favorite charcuterie board spread? Any absolute favorite items you don't see often? Thank you for asking this, Quirky Megan. Oh, thank you. So, this is my favorite question because I recently went to over the holidays, I did go to one holiday party. And everybody had to be COVID tested, and it was very small. I was nervous. I ate as much as I could from the charcuterie plate, and then I left immediately. But it reminded me that I haven't had a charcuterie plate in years. Where's the cheese? Where are my salami? Where are my gherkins and cornichon? Where is my apricot jam? Where's my fig compote? Where are my little crackers? Where are my cheese crackers? Where's my brie? Where is the cheese log? And I have to tell you, the thing that I really, really get excited is if there's a cheese ball covered in nuts, mama's going to eat half that. Your balls are mine. So, Quirky Megan, that's my favorite. I actually, when I went to Sweden, I had reindeer. I had a charcuterie plate in a restaurant that was very famous for local game and things like that. And I had I had reindeer jerky, and I felt real guilty, but it was really good. Honeycomb. Honeycomb. Forgot about that. Good one. Honeycomb on the charcuterie plate. Mm-mm. All right. Spectre Saunders asks from Twitter, any chance of Talus coming back for Dragon Age 4 as a companion? Appearance or mention? Also, what did you think Talus has been up to between Inquisition and 4, which is around 10 years? Listen, Talus is an elf, so she looks the same, just like me. I would love to be in Dragon Age 4, and I think I mentioned this, that one of the devs who's no longer on the team asked me would I be okay coming back, and I said yes, and I was so hoping to get the call. I do not think that I will be in it because even though I think Mark Dara just left too, so every single person I know from the team is there. There's a woman who's running it though now, which is very exciting, and I did the really terrible thing of like adding her and saying, "Congrats on the new job. If you need Talus, I'm available." And I was like, "Oh, Felicia, you're begging." I wasn't. I was just really excited. I was like, "Hey." But no, I don't think Talus will be involved, and that's fine. But I do know that it's going to be a game I play the heck out of. And I think Talus has been spying for the Canary. I feel like she's probably been undercover. She might have been deep undercover. And I hope that she's been doing like assassinations and infiltrations and ninja work in various areas. So that's what I hope she's doing. Last question. Does Mighty Zordon from Twitter. Des, who's Mighty Zordon on Twitter, sorry. Who would you love to collaborate with on a project? Okay, here's my dream team. My dream team is Aquafina, Richard Iode, whatever, and Issa Rae, Rachel Bloom. And we are like a dream team of hackers or something. Or maybe it's just a romantic comedy. I don't know. My friend Harvey Guyen. I don't know. I'm his friends and I'm screwing up his name. He's amazing too. Love to work with him again. Anyway, so those are my favorite actors. It's a rom-com, right? Yeah. Ayoade, Harvey Guyen. Anyway, those are my favorite people. And they're just people I admire. They're a little younger than me. I don't even care. We look the same age. It's fine. Who cares about that? All right, so that's my that's it. So if you guys can just fund the movie now, I'll make it happen. I'll come up with a project. Harvey Gaga. Harvey. It's just Harvey. He's such a sweetie. All right. So that's the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope you all have a great March. I will see some of you on the Geeks events. We have a hangout with my brother. We have a book club. We have a creativity hour where I read people's Lenormand and tarot cards, which will be very fun. And if you want to be a part of it, just check the Discord for instructions or just listen up. And that's it. You're all wonderful. Bye.